Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization on the fringes of the River of No Return wilderness. We're here because of the Bigfoot sighting reports in and around this beautiful remote area. We go on dozens of Bigfoot reports here, checking them out. McCall, Salmon, Garden Valley, Loman, Grand Jean, Chalice, Rock Bar, Stanley, and Deadwood, and more places. We're always finding ourselves here because of the plethora of Bigfoot sighting reports. We would like to share with you some of the reports that motivate us to travel and camp and search for Sasquatch in this area. We love to see an area with the long history of Bigfoot sightings. We're going to start with the oldest reports on the north side of the River of No Return wilderness. This happened in 1973 near McCall, Idaho. In the early 70s, 1973 to be exact. And here's his report. I and my hunting partner had an encounter that occurred near a tributary of the South Fork of the Salmon River drainage near the Frank Church Wilderness area east of McCall and west of Yellow Pine, Idaho. Off a remote road on a late August evening, while setting up camp to prepare for a mountain goat hunt, my friend and I had a strange encounter. We had set up camp at the back of my truck, which I had backed off the road into a small clearing backed by thick brush. Behind the brush was a small meadow and a dark timbered basin surrounded on three sides by steep rocky ridges. The fourth side dropped off into the canyon leading to a portion of the South Fork of the Salmon River. It had gotten quite dark, and we had a lantern hung in a tree over our cook table and a Coleman stove. We had put on some nice thick steaks that were cooking and smelling up the whole basin. All of a sudden we heard this blood-curdling scream, followed by a whistle not far from camp. A responding like scream and whistle came up from high and to our left and some distance away. We immediately grabbed our rifles, loaded up, and leaned them against the table within quick and easy reach. For a while we heard thrashings in the thick brush that indicated the rather close presence of a large animal. Strangest thing happened then. Although we were shaking in our boots, we both looked at each other and in the same breath said to each other, "These guns are worthless." Strangely, we unloaded and stored the guns in the rack in the truck. We then returned to our mill as we were starving. More screams, whistles, and thrashings. We picked up our stove and table and moved so that the truck was between us and the noise. All hell broke loose as the animal moved through the brush and took up a position in front of the truck and where it could be seen by us. That was all we could take. We folded up our stove with the steaks still in it and threw everything into the back of the truck and jumped into the cab. We just sat there shaking for a while. After a while, I pointed to my spotlight and said to my friend, "Should I?" He just shrugged his shoulders, continued to shake and stare at the floor, saying, "Let's get the hell out of here." Curiosity was outrunning common sense and fear at the moment, so I pointed the spotlight in the general direction of the creature that we last heard it and turned it on. The creature whirled as the light hit it and began boulder hopping through a steep rock slide on two legs at incredible speed and agility. I did not get a good look at its face as it whirled away from the light, but it was definitely standing erect, slight forward slump, and very agile on 2 feet, not like a waddling bear standing on its rear feet. It was dark brown to black in color. I have come to grips with this over the years, but my friend will not even speak about it with me. While the encounter scared the stuff out of me, I know I have a desire again to see this creature. Intuitively, I feel that the animal had no real intent to hurt me or my buddy. If it had wanted to hurt us, it had many chances. On this day the weather was clear. It happened between 9 and 10 p.m. It was dark, a little moonlight, nothing but rough country for miles either direction from the road. The elevation was about 6,000 feet, with the top near 9,000 feet. Basins had lush grass growth, dark timber, nice quiet stream, probably seldom if ever entered by man. Visited the site this past summer. It was very quiet, but I did not have much time to investigate. High probability of caves, overhanging rock, or old mining tunnels in the area. There was a follow-up investigation report by the BFRO investigator Roland Wolf. The witness was extremely amazed at how well the animal he saw was easily able to boulder hop up the steep slope in no time at all. And remember, these guys are mountain goat hunters, so they're used to seeing animals that are agile in this type of terrain, and the Bigfoot just amazed them, able to hop from boulder to boulder on 2 feet. Over the years, there were many confirmed Bigfoot sighting reports from this area of the Valley County, Idaho. Terrain is alpine and rugged with very steep slopes. There are a number of abandoned mine shafts within 20 miles of this location. More recent sighting reports from this area are still under investigation. The witness estimated the height of this biped to be 8 to 9 feet tall. This is Kelly Shaw reporting from Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization. When I think of animals in the area that could be 8 to 9 feet tall that are not Bigfoot, one creature comes to mind, and that is a moose. I've seen moose that are about 8 to 9 feet tall, big giant moose, some of the biggest, and they travel on 4 legs, obviously, and I've just never seen a moose boulder hop on 2 legs from boulder to boulder. And these guys got the spotlight on it, so it sounds like a really credible report in the area. Mountain goat hunters, they're out in these types of environments all the time, used to the animals, used to seeing how they move around, and then the screams that led up to their sighting. Just incredible. Okay, let's move on to the next report in this general area, the River of No Return, that motivates us to come search for the creature. Here's another Bigfoot sighting report in the area. More recent. It was reported in March of 2004. It happened 1985, October. This happened near Yellow Pine, Idaho. This is also on the edge of the River of No Return. Here goes the reports. At age 12, my cousin and I embarked on our first official hunting trip with my other cousin and father. We set up camp early in the day a few miles north and east of McCall, Idaho. The day was October 25th. The weather was cold and clear with the corona around the moon telling of the coming snow. It was dusk, and my cousin and I had just finished setting up our lean-to shelter about 70 yards from where my dad and other cousin had their tent set up. We both got the feeling of being watched. We turned and saw the silhouette of a very large biped observing us from only about 10 feet away. Scared, we reached for our rifles, but by the time we turned back, the creature/animal was gone. My older cousin was quite a prankster, so immediately we thought it was him. But he was still at the campfire talking to my dad. In the morning, no tracks were found as the ground was nearly frozen. That next day we walked up into a nearby drainage about 7 miles from camp, at an elevation of around 7,200 feet. The area is covered with huge granite slabs and a sandy soil from their erosion of the rocks themselves. Mid-morning, we both heard a low guttural yell which sounded like someone saying, "Hey!" several times. It was one of those sounds that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Later my father told us that this wasn't the first time he had heard the odd yell. Evidently, when he had started hunting with my grandfather, they had both heard this same type of vocalization on various occasions. Since this initial trip, I've hunted in the area 19 years and have heard the same type of yell 4 other times, all in the same area. I can honestly say this sound is like no other I have ever experienced, from mountain lion screams, elk bugling, deer and moose grunting, and bear snorts. On other hunts into the area, the sound has been witnessed by 2 other hunting companions. It always seems to occur in the same drainage. Initially, I thought it might have been the wind echoing off the rocks, but I have been there in all different types of weather conditions and can testify that this is some type of animal. There are also weird rock stacks in the area, but they do not mark trails because there are no trails and no blaze markings on the trees. This report was also followed up on by BFRO investigator Roland Wolf. He writes, "The reporting witness is an avid hunter and is employed in the building trade. The second sighting witness has passed away, but one of the other hunting partners is available to verify the vocalization experience. Witness indicated that the animal seen was definitely not a bear and that the animal was between 7 and 8 feet in height. It had arms and moved along like a human being on 2 feet. It had very broad shoulders, it was dark, and the sighting lasted only a few seconds, so no face or head detail could be seen." Kelly Shaw following up on this report. We come into this area several times a year. We love the Bigfoot here because of the Bigfoot sightings and some of the evidence we have found and vocalizations we have heard. This guy's report reminds me of a place that we frequent in Utah, on the north side of Utah, called the Uinta Mountains of Utah, in a place called Yellowstone Canyon. Jenny and I have heard the hey vocalizations back in there, and I know what they sound like because I have heard them, but we heard them one night, and there was at least 3 individuals working their way down a draw one dark night, and one kept on going hey, and then another one would go woo, and anyway, you could tell there's 3 different individuals. It was very creepy, and they were vocalizing to each other, spread out at a pretty good distance, coming down this draw towards where we were, and every once in a while the hey was directed right at us, and I just thought, hey, there was probably a road that went in on this small ridge line behind us, and what I imagined was several campers got drunk and were working their way down the draw because there was this vaulted bathroom clear back. It's right where Yellowstone Canyon splits into Hell's Canyon. It's just a 1-seat vaulted bathroom that the wildlife department or whoever they are, they stock with toilet paper and maintain it. It's like the only bathroom for miles around. So I just thought these, people had been camping up over this little hill or ridgeline behind it and were working their way down. And so I didn't want to be there to deal with these crazy drunk people. And Jenny and I thought it was weird that they didn't have a flashlight or headlamps or anything like that. So, we were automatically blaming it on people. Well, anyway, the next day we got up and we drove to where we thought they would be camping, and nobody there. As a matter of fact, we figured out that we were the only ones camping there, and there was nowhere for anyone else to camp back behind this draw where they were coming down. Once I figured out we were the only ones there, and there was no one camping there or no place for someone to camp, really creeped me out. Don't know what we were dealing with, don't know if it was Bigfoot, but hey, I heard the hey that was in this video. Keep watching, we'll keep on squatching.